I know Justin Trudeau is pretty much out of the news cycle now. In comes Lord Sir Prime Minister Carney and Leader of the Opposition Pierre Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, Chrystia Freeland's kind of fizzling out a little bit. But now that Trudeau took his chair out of the House of Commons, which for those who don't know is very traditional for them to do, except the sticking the tongue out part, that was his own weird little thing. We're moving on from Trudeau. But it's good to know from time to time how much Trudeau actually hurt Canada, specifically when it comes to the climate crusade. And to discuss this further is Kevin O'Leary, who goes back onto Fox Business. That's what we're going to be taking a look at today. But before we do, I want to encourage you guys to hit the like button and subscribe. Remind you that this is my extra channel, and I would really appreciate it if you guys showed this one the same love that you do with all the others. And without further ado, let's watch this. Here we go.
Kevin, I want to go to you on this because there's so many different angles. First, of course, there are the regulations, but also let's just start with this hypocrisy, because it also reminds me of the Tesla conversation. You know, EVs and Tesla were all the way up here before Elon Musk aligned with Donald Trump. Now they want to,
this narrative
flush him down the toilet.
This narrative started last year's COP conference when the head of it, who was the UAE leader, stood up and said, all this stuff is BS. None of this works. The trouble with all of this environmental regulation, not only domestically in the U.S., but in other countries, you can't measure the effect of the billions you're spending. There's no index you can use to say this is effective. And over time, depending on who's in the White House, people start looking at it saying, we're spending billions, and what are we getting exactly for it? Now, there is an index you can look at that was a disaster, and it's called Canada, because it was the only place where they kept carbon tax in place for 9.5 years. It crushed the economy. And you can easily look at it, parity on the Canadian dollar when Trudeau came into power, and now down 41%. And they've replaced him. He got kicked out basically because he bankrupted 25% of the Canadians on this whole carbon agenda. Yeah. He wiped them out. So you don't want to do that anywhere else. He's the glowing example of how stupid it can be. And they made sure that they tarnished him as the idiot king for it. Yeah. And so I think it's very hard to drive that in any country now.
And we were just talking about inflation, Dagan, over the last 4 years and how much that's impacted, the average American that's out there and why they're suffering. If there is any, true suffering out there right now at the moment, part of this was all this green agenda, crazy Democrat psychotic spending. That's what contributed to what people are feeling out there. That's what took us up to 9%. And so now you've got a situation where you've got somebody like Lee Zeldin under Donald Trump saying, we've got to straighten out this whole situation and get our priorities straight again.
And Lee Zeldin writes in the Wall Street Journal today, the cost of living for Americans, based on what he's doing with these 31 actions, will decrease, and essentials such as buying a car, heating your home, and operating a business will become more affordable. When Joe Biden, right after he was inaugurated, John Kerry, his climate czar, came out and said the United States could take our emissions to zero, and it wouldn't have any impact on world emissions. So why do it then? Because it's not about, because they know they can't measure what they're doing, and it's not about climate change. It is about power and control and spending other people's money. So under 4 years, the land of the free was shackled, and the home of the brave was taken to the brink of financial ruin under these climate hawks. And it's even worse if you look in places what they have tried to do to say sub-Saharan Africa. It's climate colonialism, where John Kerry looked at these nations and said, we will not give, the West will not give you funding if you are going to try to produce your own, extract your own fossil fuels. We will cut you off. Right. You are not going to use natural gas. You're not allowed to turn the lights on, in essence. And there is nothing more vile than that.
It also makes me think about Taylor, California and the wildfires and the fact that there was a lack of forest management, and they fought so hard against that. Yet at this COP30 event, they're destroying the forest to make a point. It does not make sense to me.
I wish we could pull up songs on the fly, because you guys know that Counting Crows song, They Paved Paradise to put up a parking lot? That's what was running through my head, Jackie, when you were
Written
talking.
by Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, oh, good gravy. That's a Joni Mitchell song.
Yeah.
We're coming full circle here. That's all I could sing in my head as you were showing the Amazon forest and literally paving it down for the climate elitists. I love that you talk about.
And speaking of climate elitists, I mean, for crying out loud, man, Lord Sir King Prime Minister Carney is even freaking worse than what Justin Trudeau was. But at least he's purging cabinet. For those who don't know, 2 people got the boot today. And no, that's not me mispronouncing things as a Canadian. They literally got kicked to the curb from the cabinet, remaining on as members of parliament. But Mark Miller, the sleazy immigration guy, and then Harry Pot smoker, Stephen Guilbeault, who's that weirdo that climbed the CN Tower in an orange jumpsuit, and then got handpicked by Justin Trudeau to be the environmental minister. Both of them have been removed from cabinet effective immediately, which is incredible. But I feel like because Carney is like the more evolved version of Justin Trudeau, the people that he brings in are probably going to be the more evolved version of those folks. So I don't know if it's going to be better or if it's going to be significantly worse. But one thing is for certain, Canadians are fed up with this. Canadians are ready and very, very, very much patiently waiting for this election to be called. And I think the results are going to surprise everybody. That is in the video, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.